all know that Tesla is just a car company, right? But essentially, at this point, a big piece of their total revenue and a big piece of their total profits come from cars. So let's take a look at what the car business is going to look like in 2024. Now, the range of potential sales for Tesla next year is from 2.1 from some like Troy Tesla, or 2.2 roughly from the street average for next year. And then we've got Larry Goldberg and others that are around 2.4 million vehicles. My number has been around 2.35, but I'm going to make a different case right now. I'm going to make a case, the traditional Randy Kirk case, the optimistic case for next year that is makeable, doable, that you may be shocked by. There is absolutely no doubt in my mind that Tesla can make more than 2.5 million cars in 2024. In fact, fairly easily. Let's call it 600,000 minimum in Fremont. They almost made 600,000 this year in Fremont. How about 500,000 minimum in Austin? They've made about 150,000 this year in Austin, but we know that that plant is set up for 1 million Model Ys. So getting to 500,000 next year, if they choose to, should be a no-brainer. Then we could get 400,000 out of Berlin. They did almost 200,000, I'm sorry, over 200,000 in Berlin. No, just under 200,000 in Berlin. And so getting to 400,000 also. That's a 500,000 capacity facility. They should be able to do 500,000 if they chose to next year, or at least be ramping towards that. And then 1.1 is minimum from Shanghai. They will do almost 1 million this year. They've been doing 870,000, 900,000. With what we know, they should be easily, some people are saying maybe 1.3 million from Shanghai. If you add up just those numbers, that would give you 2.6 million. So if we add a little bit for Fremont, a little bit for Shanghai, we're probably too low for Berlin and Austin if the pedal was really to the metal and the sales opportunities were really there. So maybe 3 million. I think 3 million, if they chose to, if Elon Musk said, we are going to make 3 million cars next year, no matter how many we sell, we're going to make 3 million cars. And that was the word that went out to all the workers. Trust me, they'd come very close to, if not even exceed, 3 million cars. The numbers don't, I mean, they're clearly there. The capability, the capacity is clearly there. So I'm just saying 3 million, that'd be fun, right? Okay, call me crazy. And this is not my projection. I don't know what my projection is yet. 2.35 feels very comfortable to me, but I do think there's a real possibility for a lot more. And why not? It is just a reasonable estimate. The 3 million is a reasonable estimate of what can be done if they took off the gloves. And they would blow away the street, blow away the shorts, blow away the haters, and even the fudsters would be amazed. All right. So I've been in this situation almost my entire adult life. Plenty of capacity. I was a wholesaler for a while. You have plenty of capacity as a wholesaler. I was a manufacturer for years and years. I almost always had more capacity of making those water bottles and those Mr. Tuffy tire liners than I could sell. So it was always about how can I sell more? And if I needed more capacity, I could get more capacity. As it was, we grew the company, the manufacturing company, from 0 to 5.5 million in sales within about, I think it was around 6 years is all it took us to get to 5.5 million in sales. So it's always a matter of how do you get that capacity sold? Anyway, that's where I'm going to turn my attention in this video. If you have the ability to get this video into the hands of any of the executives at Tesla, if you are 1 step away or 2 steps away, please get this video to those folks. I've sold products all over the world in multiple markets using marketing approaches from all kinds of the basic methods, from everything from guerrilla marketing, I mean the most down and dirty, no-cost guerrilla marketing, to sophisticated campaigns in print, trade shows, new media. I've done all of that, all the new media. Trust me, I've been, well, okay. I hate Instagram and TikTok, so I've never done anything in those two. I've also never done television. Let's be honest. I've never done television ads, and I wouldn't know how to start. There are plenty of folks that know way more than me, but I don't see those folks laying out a specific course of action, which is what I'm going to do right now. Here is my course of action. This is Randy Kirk, please hit the like button right now. Just take a second, hit like, hit subscribe, the reason you're hitting the like button is because you just like me. You hit the subscribe button because that helps the algorithm and is a favor. I just want you to do it to help me out. All right, then you hit the notify button. That helps you because it notifies you when Larry's going to be on and when Brian's going to be on and when all these folks are going to be on that give you a break from just me. So you want to hit notify. Then you want to hit also you want what else do you want to do? Oh yeah, you want to join Patreon. I've added a $3 level for those of you who are complaining that you're trying to split it up among a bunch of different providers, and you'd like to be able to have a lower number so that you give me a little, give somebody else a little too. All right, that's great. So we got a $3 level now, so you can sign up for that. And then you also, of course, I'm going to find it this time. My goodness, it's time to buy your Cybertruck. I know you got money for Christmas. I know you got a bonus. I know you got money you weren't expecting. Spend 25 bucks on one of these Cybertrucks, or if you buy 2 or more, it's 20 bucks until Monday at midnight, sometime. Midnight, I'm not sure in what time zone, whatever time zone you want to choose. I'm not going to be a stickler. Okay, so let's see. Is there anything else I want to tell you? Okay. Yeah, we had, this is the 3rd in a series. There'll be at least 10 of these where we're talking about all the different divisions of Tesla about what's going to happen in 2024. All right. Okay, number 1, what are we going to do here in order to really make things happen in 2024? It's always, to me, the first place you look is to open more territories. You're always going to want to look either new distribution channels, like let's say last year they added rental cars, they added fleet cars. Okay, these are great places to go. So I'll be talking about that a little more in a minute, but that's adding new categories, new segments, new distribution channels. Okay, there's certainly those opportunities next year. But the big one I'm looking for next year is geographic. Okay, and the biggest one is the Midwest. The Midwest of the United States. Not just the Midwest, actually everything but the coasts. I mean, Tesla is selling over 20% of all the vehicles sold in California right now. Why can't that number, that 20%, also be true in Chicago, St. Louis, Memphis? I mean, all the way down, all the way through the Midwest, all the way through the South. There's no reason why it shouldn't get up to 20% shortly. We should be seeing those 50% per year increases across the United States. And if we do that, then you're going to get what we're looking for in terms of units out of the United States. So I would be looking for spending almost just a hugely significant part of the total budget for 2024 in terms of marketing, in terms of ways of getting the word out. I would be spending it in the United States Midwest because I'm looking at maybe 500,000 vehicles, maybe more than that, but let's call it 500,000 plus the CTs, which will be no problem. The Cybertrucks will be no problem. So there's going to be 700,000 more BEVs sold in the United States. I'd like to see 500,000 plus the Cybertrucks be from Tesla. So that would be number 1. The next big effort should be on England. We don't know how many, did I say England? I think that should say Europe. I kept looking at that. England, what am I talking about? Okay, the next big effort should be Europe. We don't know how many 3+ have been sold, but if the evidence supports it, they should set up and change that line over in Berlin to where they can make Model 3s there in addition to Model Ys. The total sales from Berlin were about 250, less than 250,000 this year. So let's increase that by 250,000. That shouldn't be that hard. So now if you get the US Cybertruck at 100,000 plus 550,000 of additional from Austin, 250 additional from the Berlin factory, we're looking at 2.7 million already. Now we all just have to add in Shanghai. They should be able to do 1.25. They did just under 1 million this year. So that's a modest increase for them. So the biggest percentage jump would be from Berlin, who needs to roughly double. But there are many countries in Europe and new export opportunities where there are low levels for EVs and possible solid increases are possible. So that would be my geographic emphasis. Maybe 50% of the spend in the United States Midwest, maybe another 25, 30% in Europe, and another and the export nations associated with Europe, and then the balance of it going into the China market in addition to the export nations there. Now, speaking of export nations there, you might be looking at South America, and then from Berlin, you could be exporting to India and Japan. These are both possibilities of additional. I mean, there's lots of possibilities. A lot of Southeast Asia hasn't even been touched yet. A lot of the Middle East hasn't been touched yet. South America hasn't been touched yet. So there's lots of places to go. Now, these are countries and places that don't sell nearly as many expensive vehicles as the countries Tesla is already penetrating, but you sell 100,000 here and 100,000 there, turns into real numbers. All right, what about lowering prices? Should they lower prices more in 2024? Okay, this is just my view. I wouldn't like to see them lower their margins any more than they already have. In fact, I'd like to see increasing margins. I think all of you would like to see them increasing margins. Now, I take a long-term look at the whole thing. So every time you sell another Tesla, even if it's 17% or 18% margins, that is a potential sale for entertainment services in the future, $10 a month, $20 a month, going into a monthly subscription. That is more opportunity for full self-driving, robotaxi. I get it. I totally get it. And I agree. It's totally true. It's even more potential people to buy the stock, to buy solar on their roof and put power packs in their garage, and to be on the board of some city or some police department or something else that might be buying fleets. I mean, there's so many opportunities. The more of these you get into the hands of consumers. So that's why I'm talking 3 million. So if we got to lower prices, let's lower it because we've lowered the cost to produce. All right. And if we've lowered the cost to produce, then great, keep lowering the prices. But if it turns out, as it has in the past, that you can sell all you can make, then let's start increasing those prices again to take advantage of maximizing profits. All right, so what else we got next year coming up? We got new products. I love it when I've got new products to deal with. Every entrepreneur wants to have new stuff to put in the pipeline. Well, we've got the US version of the Model 3 Plus. The Model 3 Plus, it's a great car. Oh my gosh, it's the one I'd buy if I was going to buy one right now. I love the Model 3 Plus. So we need it in the United States. Maybe it's going to come out in January or February. I certainly hope so. I think that'll stimulate US sales. Then we've got Juniper. All the things that they put into the Model 3 Plus, we need those to go into the Model Y. And that'll really help sales in Asia. That'll really help sales in Europe. And ultimately, of course, if we're last to get it in the US, that is where we need, to get 350,000 or more additional cars out of Austin compared to last year. So let's get that done. Let's get that Juniper on the road. It doesn't look that hard. Maybe I'm crazy. It just doesn't look that hard. All right, then we've got the Gen 3 car. Yeah, we're not going to get many sales of those later this year, but there will be a halo effect. As those are introduced, as those start to roll out, there's going to be a halo effect, just like there is right now from the Cybertruck. And then finally, hey, what about the Roadster? I know it's not going to be a lot of units, but what the heck? It's going to be some dollars, that's for sure. And it's one more halo car. It's one more thing to stimulate interest in the product line. I'm not sure what's going on with the Roadster right now, what promises have or haven't been made recently about the Roadster, but why not 2024? That would help things along the way. When all is said and done, the real test will be whether the existing marketing efforts of word of mouth plus the little bit of additional methods that have been used in terms of pay-per-click and similar will be enough to get what I'm suggesting done. You need to have a serious amount of marketing, in my opinion, to move the kind of metal that we would like them to move next year if we want to get past that 2.2, 2.3 million and get up to a number like 2.7 or 3 million even. So I think there's a potential home run if there's not only a home run for this year, but a setup for the future. By the number you sell this year, you set yourself up for selling even more in the future. And that would be by increasing the advertising and marketing budgets in multiple ways. Now, I've talked about some of these before. I've talked about it in the Elon Musk mission, but let me just go through these fairly quickly again. Number one is promotion. From a PR department. I know Elon says he calls it a propaganda department, but really you need that PR department. I've talked about that ad infinitum, so I'm not going to go into a lot more detail, but the way that you announce projects, the way that you set up these meetings that we have, several times a year in Austin, all those kind of things, if you had just the next level of professionality, the next level of ways of promoting and making those things have a multiplying effect. Number two would be advertising, okay? And the advertising that's being done right now on pay-per-click and on YouTube, great starts. Glad to see that they're putting in a big YouTube team, or at least a video team, a huge video team, about, I think, 8 or 9 different positions that were being offered out. That team should be able to turn out massive numbers of videos over the next year that can be used as advertising on YouTube, advertising elsewhere, can be used on Twitter, X.com, can be used on all social media for that matter, not just X, can be used as methods for putting together a final decision when and what are we going to do in terms of some television advertising potentially. I mean, all of that is possible. Test it, try things. I think the return on investment would be massive. Okay, then there's shows. Tesla's been in a few shows. They need to be in a lot more shows. This is a fabulous return on investment for most companies. I have participated in, built the trade show, the booth, typically are booths, sometimes as many as 20 in a single trade show, sometimes double deckers and the rest. I have done a massive amount of trade show business in my life. And this is a very good way to get return on investment if it's done right by people who understand that you don't just show up with your product, you need to grab them by the neck and pull them into the booth. And then you need follow up. Anyway, I have videos. You can go back and look at these videos I've done previously on things like this, or look at my old books in terms of how to properly do a trade show. Anyway, they should do lots more trade shows, lots more shows. Every show, wherever they can go, they should be in the show. All right, next, YouTubers. They need to help out the YouTubers. I'm not just me. There must be 100 of us that are out there doing this stuff. How can you help out the YouTubers? How can you help the people that are creating content on X? There's a million ways. You can provide YouTube, the new team that's coming in that does that's going to do a lot of new YouTube content or a lot of video content, provide the content, put it up in a place where people that are proven, it's not that hard to show whether somebody is providing content on X or providing content on YouTube, and then let us have access to that content. Make it easy for us to make B-rolls and to make our content more exciting and interesting. Same thing with individual still content. Give us lots and lots and lots of stills. Don't make us download it from the internet. Create a page where all that kind of stuff is available. Create some written content that we can use. This is going to help us to make more content and to make it cleaner and better and more in line with what you'd like to say, so you can get your message out the way you want the message to get out. Then there's influencers. Okay, we've tried the influencers now. I think it's working really well. Expand it. How can you get more of these influencers engaged and involved? You've shown that it worked with the Model 3 Plus introduction. You've seen that it worked with the Cybertruck introduction. Keep going. There must be, 500 people like these that would love to get their hands on a Cybertruck, or love to get their hands on the Juniper when it comes out, love to get their hands on the Model 3 Plus when it comes out in the United States. There must be dozens, if not hundreds. And some of those are right within our own community, the 100 people I'm talking about. Heck, you could send me a Cybertruck for a week. I'd be more than happy to take it out, take some video, and use it as part of my program. Next would be test ride setups. You need every city in the country, maybe even a permanent installation, but at least a mobile installation that's coming in for 10 days or 2 weeks or 3 weeks, where people can come and not just do the test ride, you drive around the city like you do in a normal situation when you go to the showroom. No, we need to be able to come in, have people come in and have a place where they can put pedal, where they can blow out that 0 to 60. There's enough room to do it safely, where they can maybe do some maneuvers, be able to test it in a way that's kind of fun. I think this would be a huge, big time return on investment. Some of those same people that would be doing that could be the people that would be used in the trade shows around the country. All right, then you got product placements. I saw one the other day. I mentioned it briefly on one of my shows. I saw that there was the Tesla. It got a lot of coverage in that show. In the first episode, at least, it didn't seem to continue throughout the show, but it should be easy to get the Cybertruck in for product placement. It should be easy to get Roadsters. And then the regular cars too, they're a known value now. If they can go into some TV shows and into some movies, I think shocking good return on investment for that. Then you've got promotions. Tesla's been pretty good at promotions, but I think they could do a lot more. They could be giveaways. There could be, give away entire vehicles. They've done some stuff with, I'm going to forget the Beast. More stuff like that. I think would be very, very helpful. Paying down interest rates. We've seen that that's happening. Paying down, getting the leases really, really low, because the leases are I've done a couple of videos on this, that when you lease it out with a required return after 3 years, you make money on that. They make money on that, at least if the prices continue to hold. They've gone down a lot, I know, in the last year or whatever, but that was because of the whole COVID craziness. So normally they hold their value very well. Leasing it out at $399 a month is going to be a very good deal for Tesla. And maybe the new Gen 3 car, maybe it's going to be $299 or $199 a month. So that stuff really, really helps. That kind of stuff needs to be done. Bundling with insurance. Now that we have an insurance plan, I know you've been doing it. Tesla's been doing this in China. I'd like to see them doing it in Europe and in the United States too, where the insurance is available. Bundle it and get that cost down to where it really helps the monthly payment become even easier, because you're paying less for insurance than you would be on another car, and less than you would be if you were buying it from a different insurance company. And then finally, lots and lots more effort. I would like to see, I would imagine they could use a team of 100 on this. I mean it, a team of 100 salespeople that would be going out and calling on fleets, police departments, rental car companies, government agencies. I could go down the list, military, not just in the United States, but all over the world. So you can see we're 100 people. Maybe they need a lot more than 100, because you're talking about, if you got somebody calling on all these fleets, maybe you've got 10 people in the United States and 10 in Germany, and another 20 in China, and some in Australia, and some in the United Kingdom, and et cetera, et cetera. It's going to take a big team, but man, this is just an obvious one. I don't know why. Maybe it's already happening. I'm not seeing any evidence at all. It seems like all of these things that are coming in terms of the fleets, in terms of police departments, et cetera, have been just somebody in that town. He says, you know what? I bet we could save money if we went out and got ourselves a Model 3 instead of using these other cars. And then they do it, and they're like, yeah, they get to write them in the paper because they're saving so much money. Anyway, so I have much more to say about the car part of the business. So look for a part 2 about this at some point. But we'll probably talk about some of the other divisions before we come back to that part 2. So now the question becomes, have you signed? First of all, in the comments below, let me know, am I nuts? Do you think after what I've just gone through that 3 million is a possibility? Let me know if you think they could at least make 3 million. Could they make 3 million next year? Did I make that case? Well, if they could make 3 million, then it's just a matter of how much marketing do you put behind it, right? I mean, there's got to be a level. There's got to be enough. Maybe it's 2 billion. Maybe they can spend 5 billion on marketing. I don't know, but there's a number. If they spend enough money and enough energy and put enough time into it, there is a way they could move 3 million vehicles next year. I'm confident of it. Why not give it a try? Okay. Have you signed up on Patreon yet? I want you to go right now. Okay. $3 a month. Come on. That's a doable deal, right? $5 a month? 10? Okay. But you just got to go down into the description below, and you just click the button, takes you to Patreon. It's easy enough to sign up, and love to have you joining up at the $3 level. That'll be fine. For those of you, if you can afford more, I'd love to have you at the $5 or $10 level. Okay, as I mentioned over the past few days, I've done videos on the energy storage business, the FSD and robotaxi part of the business, and now this one on the car business. The cards for the first two are right here, so please look those up. And then coming up will be at least 7 more videos looking at Optimus and Dojo, the semi, charging stations, insurance, and more. These will be coming up in the days ahead. Some of them might include co-hosts who will help me figure all of that out. Okay, let's see. Oh yes, Cybertruck. Let me take one more minute. Right now, until Monday night at some time, or Tuesday morning, I'm not going to be persnicative. If you're a minute late or 10 minutes late or 5 hours late, I don't care. $25 if you buy one, $20 for everyone. Well, even better than that. $20 a piece if you buy 2, so $40. $60 if you buy 3. Get it? Multiply however many you want to buy times 20. That's what you're going to pay. And then if you're outside the United States zip code, you need to add 20 more bucks to pay for the freight. If you're in the, the Asia, Japan, Australia, Philippines, you're in that area, it's going to cost me at least $30 to get it there. So let's go with $30 extra for one, or for 100, it costs $30 extra. And then if you are, and please always let me know whether you want the camo or whether you want this stainless steel. I'm very, very encouraged by the number of reorders I'm getting, because people get them and they're like, no, I need more of those. I know 3 people that would love to have one of those. Anyway, I think I've covered everything I needed to cover right now. I'm sure I'll think of something as soon as I'm off the air, but it has been great talking to you.